I heard a quote the other day that said, "Man does not become better until he needs to become better." And man does not feel like he needs to become better until he faces problems that are bigger than himself, right? And when a man faces problems that are bigger than himself, he realizes he realizes he does not have the resource or capacity to solve the problems in his life, and he must grow in terms of resources and capacity, right? So it's something to keep in mind. Most people don't really feel the want to become better until they literally have a need to become better. So they literally don't have a choice to become better until they receive their wake up call, until they realize they literally need to level up to solve a problem in their life. So once you realize that, you're going to realize that any obstacles or any challenges you're facing in your life, they can be quite a blessing, or they can be a silver lining, so to speak, if you allow it to be, right? Some people operate within the mindset, though. Some people operate within the mindset where, oh, woe is me, something bad might happen to me. But I operate within the mindset where everything happens for a reason, and there's no such thing as something negative happening to you. There is simply experiences that help you grow, right? Even if the circumstance or experience appears to be negative, growth is always uncomfortable, right? And the only way people grow in this world is when they face problems bigger than themselves. So when you're facing a challenge or obstacle in your life, right, and you realize that the problem is bigger than you, and that you might not have the ability to face it, you realize you have no choice but to grow as a person in order to find the power to solve this problem. So it's something to keep in mind that, man does not become better until he feels like he needs to become better. Most people do not feel have the become successful until they feel the need to become successful, right? Until no, most people don't feel like getting rich until they're like, all right, I'm literally having trouble paying my bills. I'm literally having trouble buying the clothes that I want to buy. Everything I want is behind getting rich. So now I need to become rich, right? So you can adopt this mindset and you can apply it to literally everything, right? You can also reverse engineer the life you want for yourself, right? You can put yourself in the mindset where, okay, if I want to become rich, I might need to put myself in a situation where I need to become rich. That will make me more determined to solve my problems, right? Why do I need to become rich? Well, I need to buy these specific clothes. I need to buy higher quality food. And once you put that in your mind, that you need to become rich to solve all these other problems, you're going to find it way more easier to be motivated. Some people have the mindset where I want to become famous. You can frame it as I need to become famous, right? I need to become famous in order to travel the world, in order to meet people, right? In order for people to contact me, right? The more people know you are, the more people might hit you up, the more friends you might make, the more you might grow as a person, right? So it's better to reverse engineer your goals and to put yourself in a mindset where sometimes for a lot of people, they don't do things until they feel like they need to do things. So sometimes you can put yourself in a position where you can force yourself to need to do something in order to achieve your goals much easier. There's a Bible verse that goes like, treat people how you want to be treated. And I heard another guy take it a little bit step further. And he basically said, men should not be, men should not do a bunch of nice things for others and then be mean to himself. Men should not be mean to others and then nice to himself. And basically, what that quote means is it should make you more aware of your behavior, right? And the guy went on a little bit further and he said, man should not overlook his own faults and then not overlook the faults of others, right? And that basically means to treat others the way you'd want to treat yourself, right? If you're nice to yourself and you give a lot of money to yourself and you do a lot of nice things for yourself, you should be doing the same thing for others, right? You should be treating others with that same respect, right? And if you're willing to overlook your own flaws and your own mistakes about yourself, if you're willing to do that for yourself, then you should be willing to do that for other people. Well, you should be willing to overlook their own mistakes and their own faults if you're so willing to do that for yourself. So that quote basically helps us makes us aware of how we treat ourselves and how we treat other people. Where a lot of people grant themselves leniency, right? And the quote also goes, if you forgive others, you should forgive yourself. And if you do forgive yourself, you should show others some forgiveness as well, right? It's only fair that you treat others the way you'd want to be treated, right? Because it goes like this. If you want to forgive yourself for some mistakes that you made, I'm sure that you would want others to forgive you for some mistakes you made as well. And if you want others to do that for you, you must be willing to do that for other people. You must be willing to forgive them for their mistakes. And if you want people to overlook your faults, if you want people to overlook the things about you that aren't perfect, you should be willing to do the same thing for them. Overlook the things about them that are not perfect as well, because you're asking them to do the same for you. So it's only fair. And this quote, it's not asking you to give leniency to everyone. That's not what it's asking you. It's basically saying that if you treat yourself really nicely, and if you grant a lot of leniency to yourself, you should give others that same treatment, right? Because when you do a lot of nice things for yourself, when you overlook your own faults, when you forgive yourself, right? And you're basically asking other people to do the same for you. You're basically asking people to overlook your own faults and to forgive yourself for trespassing. And if you're asking others to do that for you, you should be willing to do that for other people. It's only fair, and it's basically a healthy way of operating within the world, right? If you do a lot of nice things for yourself, you should be willing to have the same openness where doing nice things for other people. You shouldn't be mean to other people and only doing nice things for yourself, right? If you want other people to be nice to you, you should be willing to treat them with that same kindness and respect, right? We attract the same energy that we put out in the world, right? This quote is pretty relevant and applies to a lot of guys, because some people will forgive other people for doing stuff to them, but some people go quite hard on themselves on things they regret, on the mistakes they've made in their life. And it's worth noting, you can forgive yourself, right? Most people do not have that idea where they can just forgive themselves. You can choose to forgive yourself for things you've done in the past, for things that you regret, right? You can simply choose to forgive yourself the same way you forgive other people for doing stuff to you. You can choose to forgive yourself for doing stuff to yourself, right? Because no one's perfect. Everyone kind of goes through their own battles. And if you want people to treat you a certain way or to look at you a certain way, what goes around comes around. So you got to treat people the same way you want to be treated if you want to be receptive to that energy coming backwards to you, right? Because it's just not going to work if you want people to look at you in a positive light, but you're not exercising that same energy to them. The universe is fair in that when you exercise positivity will come back to you. What goes around comes around.